710 ESPN, the radio home of the purple and gold, and the home of Lakers talk.
Although the Lakers didn't end the regular season with a win, they did finish third in the West and with high hopes of doing damage in the playoffs.
They'll dribble it out, and the Lakers are going to lose their last game of the season, but they're heading to the playoffs as the 3 seed.
The stage is set for round 1, game 1. Lakers and Timberwolves face off in the playoffs at Crypto.com Saturday night.
You know, there's regular season and there's playoffs, and oftentimes it's not completely different things, but there are nuances to what teams are trying to do against certain opponents. You know, we have a lot of work to do, and they're a really good basketball team.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetzky.
What is up, Laker fans? Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. It is go time, people. We've got the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. It begins Saturday for the Lakers. 5:30, game 1, your 3 seed against the 6 seed Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, that game, the entire series, for however long the Lakers stay in the playoffs, that can be heard right here on 710 ESPN. Pre-game coverage, which I will actually be sitting in game 1 for Beto Duran. Don't know about anything else in the series, but game 1 for sure this Saturday. I'm going to be there. Pre-game coverage begins at 4 p.m., 5:30 tip. I am really excited. I mean, not just because I'm a Laker fan and the Lakers are in the playoffs, and that's awesome, and this team looks like they could maybe make a little bit of noise. We're going to talk about that over the course of the next couple hours. But I'm also just excited, man, because I think this is going to be a really entertaining series. I think it's going to be a really interesting test for the Lakers in certain respects. Like I'll get into a prediction at the end of the show, like an official prediction. But I think this series is going to be an interesting test for the Lakers, not just in this series, but sort of their overarching thing during the playoffs, like how far they can go, how the roster as currently constructed will fare. The Timberwolves are one of the biggest teams in the Western Conference. And the Lakers, while they're not a small team, I think sometimes the Lakers get talked about as smaller than they actually are. They lack traditional size at center. It is basically Jackson Hayes and then a bunch of big forwards as small ball backup centers. And how viable that is for a team during a playoff run, I think that's going to be tested in interesting ways in this first round against the Wolves, who are, at the very least, one of the biggest teams in the West. And they could end up, depending on who beats who over the course of the next couple rounds, depending on how long the Lakers last, they could be the biggest team that the Lakers face in the West. So I think that in and of itself, beyond all the different matchups, all the different whatever that we're going to break down over the next couple hours, I think that in and of itself will be interesting and revealing for the Lakers. We got 2 awesome guests today. 6:30, I'm going to be talking with Pete Zayas, the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast. It is my favorite Lakers podcast that does not feature me as the host. Like Locked On Lakers, available 5 days a week everywhere you get your podcast, Monday through Friday, always free, never behind a paywall. And for the sickos who like to watch, there's a YouTube component, 4 minutes, 53 seconds into the show, Funchy.
Not fast enough.
Not fast enough.
Not your fastest.
Well, I don't want to bury the lead. I don't want to bury the lead, which is playoffs, baby. Playoffs. But if it's not Locked On Lakers, for real, and there are a lot of Laker podcasts out there that are great. We've had a lot of their hosts on these shows. They're phenomenal. But Lakers Film Room is genuinely my favorite of all of them. So I want to talk with Pete Zayas at 6:30 about what he's seen with these Lakers down the stretch during the Luka era, what he's most excited about, curious about with this series. And then at 7:15, I'm going to talk with Ben Beecken, the host of Locked On Timberwolves, part of the Locked On Network. where he's a great source on Timberwolves, some of the best coverage you're going to find out there of the Lakers' first-round opponent. He's got a lot of insights into Anthony Edwards and how the Wolves are going to go about trying to pull out what is currently perceived as an upset. So Ben Beecken coming up at 7:15. The Lakers are currently in the middle of a week where they're getting some rest. They are sharpening up, and it is something that Rui Hachimura talked about today in practice, drastically needed.
They're going to be very healthy, so we have to, protect. But also, they probably, I'm guessing, double teaming, Brown, Luka, maybe Air. So all these guys are us, like me, Dodo, Josh.
Wrong bite there, but Rui talked about how it was really, given how much the last couple seasons the Lakers have had to just haul ass over the last 30 or so games of the regular season, play incredibly hard just to put themselves in the position to get into the play-in. Then they actually have to win the play-in to get into the playoff. It's incredibly taxing. Like, it is something that was incredibly taxing for the Lakers over the last couple years. They still had to play really hard down the stretch to get into the playoffs this year to get that 3 seed, but the reward is a week off. They're going to be practicing. They're going to be sharpening up. It's not a week of kicking up their feet and relaxing, but it is a week where they're not playing games. And mentally, physically, spiritually, this is exactly what they needed. And, there's a couple other things that have come out during the week. Maxi Kleber has been a full participant yesterday, I believe today as well. Yesterday was just shooting and conditioning. I don't think they've even done full contact practices yet for Kleber to participate in, but it seems like the Lakers think Kleber could be available for the playoffs at some point, particularly if they do manage to go a couple rounds. Were that the case, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Maxi Kleber has already passed Alex Len on the depth chart and that he will be the backup to Jackson Hayes in those moments where the Lakers want more size, where JJ wants to have somebody out there who is closer to a traditional center. Maxi Kleber, 6'10", can also space the floor. He's familiar with Luka Doncic, played with him before. I believe JJ actually was teammates with Maxi Kleber during his brief time as a Maverick, so I think there's a level of comfort there. It was interesting, too. I asked Jared Vanderbilt yesterday. I was in El Segundo for practice, and I just mentioned how the Lakers the last couple years, they had to sprint to get themselves just into the play-in to make the playoff. And this season, like in 2023 when the Lakers went on that Western Conference Finals run, the teams were reconfigured on the fly, right? Rui Hachimura got added in sometime in late January, I believe, and then right before the deadline, Rob Pelinka swung the big move where Russell Westbrook was moved to Utah, part of a 3-team deal, and D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley joined the team. There was a lot that needed to be figured out on the fly. This year, the Lakers add Dorian Finney-Smith in late January. Then, obviously, you bring in Luka Doncic, you take Anthony Davis, Max Christie out the door, Jordan Goodwin gets added unexpectedly, ends up part of the rotation. There's been a lot to figure out on the fly this year as well as the Lakers go into the playoffs. And I asked Jared Vanderbilt what feels different about this year as opposed to 2 seasons ago, if anything.
We added Luka Doncic this time. That's a big difference for sure. But, I've been a part of the last couple of years. When I got here, we came in mid-season, so I think that kind of sparked our energy and sparked that postseason run that we had. Same as this year, having a guy like Luka come in, Doe, all those guys coming in and kind of just changing our energy, and we feeding off of that, and I think that sparked our second half of the season. Is going to carry over to the playoffs.
877-710 ESPN if you want to weigh in. And obviously, look, I'm sure that there are more details, more specifics, more nuance that you could look at to break down the differences between 2023 when the Lakers scrambled with a brand new roster, getting themselves into the playoffs, versus this season, having to scramble, work on the fly a lot, getting into the playoffs. But in a lot of ways, Vando got to the nut of the matter, which is we brought in Luka Doncic. And anytime you bring in a player like Luka Doncic, everything changes. Like, here were Luka's numbers last year in the Western Conference Finals against the Timberwolves that the Lakers are going to be facing starting on Saturday. 32 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists on 47, 43, 85 splits, almost 8 trips to the line per game. And except for maybe Kyle Anderson, throw in Dante DiVincenzo, who is going to be game for a defensive assignment, but he's too small for Luka, or Julius Randle, who I don't think is quick enough. He's strong enough, but not quick enough. It's basically the same group last year defensively for Minnesota as it was last year. And Luka torched those dudes. I mean, like, Luka is so dynamic, so good, such a game changer. He can make LeBron James no longer the number one priority of an opposing defense in the playoffs. LeBron James, who I think at minimum will be second-team All-NBA this year, on the short list of greatest players of all time, still playing at a high level, still capable of scaring the bejesus out of teams that he plays. He's now second on the list of priorities. That's how much Luka changes. Like, you are, by definition, a completely different team when Luka Doncic is in the fold. And then when you factor in the idea, like I talked about before, that this group no longer has to, they didn't kill themselves to get into the play-in. They didn't use up all of that energy mentally and physically, just putting themselves in the position to play in the playoffs. They actually get that week off. This is the first time the Lakers have hosted a playoff series as the home court team since 2012. The starting lineup of that group, by the way, Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, Ramon Sessions, and because Metta World Peace was suspended for a regular season elbow that he threw at James Harden, Devin Ebanks. That was your fifth starter for at least the beginning of that series. That's how long it's been since the Lakers hosted. They were the home team for a playoff series. Like DeAndre is on the board right now. He's probably like 8 when this happened or something, 2012.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's how long ago it is. And like just the energy, the everything with the playoffs this season between Luka, between the place where the Lakers are playing from, the advantages of being a 3 seed. Everything feels different. It's all incredibly exciting. I cannot wait to see the game starting on Saturday. I cannot wait to talk about more of this. 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in. 877-710-3776. Again, going to be talking with Pete Zayas from Lakers Film Room in about 15 minutes. Ben Beecken from Locked On Wolves in about an hour. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710.
Steve Mason and John Ireland.
Mason and Ireland, tomorrow at noon after Travis and DeMarco.
Ireland, yesterday we were talking about how I'm a completely different person off the air.
Right.
Juan said, you're the same person. You're just as dumb. You're just stoned
You're not
or
as fake.
drunk.
Yeah, you're not as
watching a
outgoing.
game.
You're not as vibrant.
I'm a big dumb kid at home. I'm a big dumb kid at work. It's the way I view it.
The OGs of LA Sports Radio. That's Mason and Ireland.
On 710 ESPN.
Did you know that Children's Hospital Los Angeles has Southern California's only pediatric level 4 epilepsy unit? But what does that really mean for your child? It means a place where every doctor, nurse, and piece of equipment is specially designed for kids with epilepsy. They create personalized care plans for each child. But here's what's really exciting. The Neurological Institute is running over 45 clinical trials to develop new therapies. That means your child could have access to tomorrow's treatments today.
Why do we grill to order at Waba Grill? Because it's just better for you. And our Asian-inspired menu has high-quality proteins that are healthier for you. Like hormone-free chicken, ribeye steak, wild-caught salmon, and shrimp. Our steamed vegetables and signature salads are made fresh for you. Our sauces are more flavorful for you, from sweet and spicy to fiery hot. Download the Waba Rewards app or order online at wabagrill.com. Waba Grill, it's for you.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
As the Lakers prepare for Saturday night's Game 1 matchup versus Minnesota, JJ Redick knows it won't be easy versus the T-Wolves.
Very difficult opponent. They've played as well as anyone, lately, and I believe they're one of 4 teams in the top 10 in offense and defense, so they present a lot of problems.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
This is on the tip of my tongue. This is going to bug the bleep out of me. All right, just tell me. Just tell me who this is.
Bobby Caldwell.
Okay.
Who's mistakenly always, people think he's black.
Yep.
By the way, Common sample
Common
the song?
sampled the song. Yes, he did.
That's what I'm getting it from.
Yes.
Yeah. There may be no greater case of racial mistaken identity than Bobby Caldwell.
Exactly.
Really, truly. I have been aware that Bobby Caldwell is Caucasian for, 30 to 40 years, something like that, at least 30. I still have to remind myself all the time.
Me too.
All the time. Just at the risk of sounding...
Good singer, man. Great singer.
The risk of sounding stereotyping, he just doesn't sound that way. 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in. Reminder, going to be talking with Pete Zayas from the Lakers Film Room podcast at 6:30. Ben Beecken from Locked On Wolves at 7:15. Take a couple of your calls and before I get into something with Anthony Edwards, but let's start with Johnny in Long Beach. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, Ken. Today was a good day. Hey, was that a Common sample?
It was a Common sample. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So I think the Lakers can actually, run the series balanced. Luka will have the energy. He knows how to, dish it to, role players who will stay engaged. And then at the end of the games, LeBron's just going to take over. And that's what I got.
I appreciate the call, man. It's interesting you bring that up. Because one of the things I've thought about, and I want to talk about Anthony Edwards, obviously, if not in this segment over the course of the show, the idea of how they're going to go about looking to slow down Anthony Edwards, make him have to work for everything, and, the idea of who starts on him as initial defender, if the Lakers are going to be looking to kind of send 1.5 bodies at him, 2 bodies, whatever, but LeBron is one of the guys that I think at least profiles as an ideal guy to do this with. And given that you've got Luka and you've got Austin Reeves to do a lot of the facilitating, and if guys like Rui and Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent, if those guys can hit outside shots, like we've seen this year, in particular when DFS and Gabe are hitting 3 threes each in a game, and Rui's just getting enough shots, period, because he typically scores pretty efficiently. If he gets just enough shots, period, Lakers are pretty damn hard to beat. They are a really difficult team to beat, especially when DFS and Gabe are making those shots. That's something Rui talked about today at practice today. He's like, look, man, we know Luka's going to get doubled all the time. LeBron's going to get doubled all the time. Austin Reeves might see a second defender. He said, me, DFS, Gabe, Jackson Hayes, we all got to hit our shots. But if that happens, man, they are a super difficult team to beat. Mike in Rialto, you're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about, like you were mentioning about the guys making the shots, but with them being double and triple team, they have to stop playing this ISO ball. The supporting cast has to move around and make the cuts so they can be open for the pass.
Yeah,
out of the double.
Yeah, Mike, I appreciate the call. I actually think, and this is going to be interesting with the Timberwolves and something I'm going to talk about with Ben Beecken from Locked on Wolves, also talk about probably with Pete Zayas. I think when teams look to double, in particular Luka, that can be death just because he's so good at finding the open guy, DeAndre, and the open guy is often at that point LeBron or Austin with advantage, like, being able to attack 4-on-3 at that point. Like, I think the more Minnesota can try to play these guys straight up and just try to make them work and work to get their shots, like work to get to the spots that they want, like work all of that stuff, but it's almost counterintuitive to say, but to keep the ball in Luka's hands as opposed to giving him the ability to start pinging it around. Same with LeBron. I actually think Minnesota in the long run could be better off that way.
It was interesting because obviously what Luka did to the Timberwolves last year, and everyone was talking about how the Mavs were able to exploit the Timberwolves, because they like to switch 1 through 5. Even Gobert was out there switching the perimeter, obviously, right? Knowing that the Lakers and how this team is compared to that Mavs team, obviously it was Luka and Kyrie who were the primary playmakers, the guys who were able to create their own shots. When you have this Lakers team, you have Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James. And then Rui Hachimura, time to time, can create his own shot as well. So this Lakers team is also set up for success offensively for a lot of other playmakers than just Luka Doncic by himself.
Yeah, that's one of the big differences between the Lakers and the Wolves. Like, the Wolves have a good supporting cast next to Anthony Edwards. And Julius Randle, his playoff track record is not great, but he is capable of playmaking. Like, he's a good player.
He plays at one speed, though.
Right.
He puts his head down, gets to the basket, likes to get fouled, and he's not really the best three-point shooter. He can make them. You got to respect them.
You'll take your chances.
Exactly.
Like, if he starts making them, you got to guard him, obviously, try to make him put the ball on the floor. But you're not scared of Randall taking threes. Like, most of Minnesota, they're really good from outside. Like, you have to guard a lot of those dudes.
But a lot of them are catch and shoot, though. Like, DiVincenzo's a guy, catch and shoot. Like, Alexander Walker's the guy, catch and shoot. Mike Conley would do something a little bit here and there, but he's more catch and shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Ant's the one guy who really creates his own threes off the dribble in ways that are scary. JJ yesterday at practice talked about just the challenge of dealing with Anthony Edwards.
Sadachu is the three-point volume, his ability to make shots at a really high level off the bounce. His pick and roll threes, his ISO threes, dribble up transition threes. He shoots them all at a really high clip, and I think that's he's still got his mid-range package. He's still got the ability to get to the rim and finish, but not many guys that can shoot off the dribble at volume from three can also make 40% of them. That unlocks a lot.
I've got some numbers that over the course of the show I'm going to throw out with Anthony Edwards and his season against the Lakers this year, but want to get to a few more callers. Steven in Ontario. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Steven?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, we gotta stop acting like Luka, and I love Luka, trust me, but we gotta stop acting like Luka is the primary guy that beat the Wolves last year. Kyrie's an all-star type player here.
Sure.
He was. So I just think Laker fans, are a little overconfident, and we got to take it one game.
I'm going to stop you, Steven. I'm going to stop you. You do not have to take it one game at a time. Like, if you want, you can actually set up shop on Figueroa right now. Like, honestly, it's fine. It's not going to affect a damn thing that happens over the course of the playoffs. And I'm not saying that to make fun of you. I'm saying if you're a fan and you want to be confident, be confident. Like, really, it's not going to I promise you, the Lakers are not going to feel the fan base's confidence and start getting complacent. Like, I promise you that's not how it works. So don't.
And then one more thing.
Don't be afraid to experience the joy, Stephen.
Thanks for that. And then our matchup here, who's going to be guarding Ant? I mean, that guy can shoot. We've seen him. He can shoot from 25 to 27 feet, and
shoot
he
from
can go
anywhere,
in there and dunk on people.
He can shoot from.
Be tough.
He is going to be. Really, I appreciate the call. He is going to be a handful for the Lakers. I've got some numbers though that I'm going to present. Probably not right now, just because we're going to be talking with Pete Zayas pretty soon. But I'm going to get into this over the course of between now and 8 o'clock. Some numbers on Anthony Edwards and the Lakers this season that are both promising, but also raise some questions. But as far as the question of who I think is going to start on Ant, I think some of this depends on how much switching the Lakers plan to do. Like, how much switching is one of their, number one, number two priorities, stuff like that. I think Rui is going to probably start on Ant, knowing that you're going to have LeBron as a secondary guy, Austin as a secondary guy, DFS, if he's out there, as a secondary guy. But Rui has, I think, a good combination of athleticism and strength to at least try to shade Ant in the directions that he's looking for that type of help. But, I mean, look, the truth is, no matter who you put on Ant, it's going to be a difficult assignment because he's really, really good. Last call before we talk to Pete Zayas. JJ in Belmont Shores. You're on Lakers Talk. What's up, JJ?
Andy, how are you, brother? Hey, last time I talked to you, I said that you were over aggressive on the Lakers. I'm sorry for that.
That's
you
okay.
Come back down.
It was all you, JJ.
I want to make sure that I talk about the Lakers starting 2 All-Stars, next 2 coming up guys, and the 5 guys playing behind that are playing great. We're going to be totally fine against Minnesota. They have this JJ defense going where they attack the main scorer. If you're within 2 feet from him, you go to him. They did it to Jokic. They did it to Morant. It's going to be good. Everybody just got to chill.
Appreciate the call there, JJ. Yeah, look, man, the Wolves are a good team. Like, I will give my prediction at the end of the show, but I can tell you right now without spoiling anything, my prediction is with the context of I think the Wolves are a good team. I think if you are a Western Conference playoff team, you're a good team. I mean, the West has just been brutal this whole year. But I think the Lakers are very well situated to take on the Wolves. I think it's going to be a really fun series. And we're going to talk about all this coming up with Pete Zayas, the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast. If you are holding, hang in there. I will get to you. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA.
Ever feel like the road is out to... Thankfully, Hyundai is always working to ensure it doesn't, with over 130 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006. IIHS Top Safety Awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
Lease a Hyundai Tucson for only $269 a month, or get $1,750 bonus cash. See your SoCal Hyundai dealer. Offers end April 30th. Call 714-568-7676 for details.
One of LA's best kept secrets in the heart of Los Angeles, East Central Hotel offers effortless accommodations and unparalleled accessibility. The East Central Hotel is for everyone looking for entertainment with their trendy spacious rooms, a renovated gym, and a patio lounge for breakfast, dinner, and drinks. Stop by their incredible Nixo Lounge before your next event at LA Live. Book your stay at eastcentralhotel.com or call 213-748-1291 today at Entertainment's official address.
Festival season fashion. country fans in boots, pop fans in their sneaks, and I in my stretchy pants because jelly beans. Now your top reasons to visit Morongo.
Easter freebie. Get a free stuffed Beanie Bunny on Easter Sunday.
Number 2.
Big League gift giveaway. Get a sandproof picnic blanket when you earn 500 points on your rewards card the 22nd.
And the number 1 reason.
Fog Hat. Live May 22nd. Get tickets now.
Morongo. Good times.
Is it time to downsize? Selling your home doesn't have to be a hassle. With Seller's Advantage, skip agents, commissions, and costly repairs. Get a fair, competitive cash offer without worrying about the details falling through. Chris Chavez, a real customer, says, quote, Seller's Advantage offered me more than I expected. The process was fast, easy, and much better than using a realtor, end quote. Call 888-390-AS-IS or visit sellersadvantage.com for your free cash offer.
DRE number 01961658.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
This is Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky on 710 ESPN.
Now that Bronny James has his first regular season under his belt, it's time to get his first taste of the playoff.
Preparation and thinking the game as much as they do in the playoffs and the intensity of playoff games and stuff like that. Yeah, I just ready to be open-minded and ready to win every game.
It's the home of the Lake Show and the home of Lakers Talk.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Back to Andy Kamenetzky.
Bronny James, or as he's sometimes known, Scout Team Ant Edwards. He and Shake Milton during practice today split the honors of being the Scout Team Ant today. And as it was reported, I want to say by Dave McMenamin, that the Scout Luka Doncic for the Wolves, Joe Ingles.
Good day, mate.
I don't know which is funnier. I'm really trying to decide which is funnier.
How do you know? Joe Ingles probably plays like Luka.
In the okay. Remember before when I said I never remember that Bobby Caldwell's an old white dude?
Yeah.
I always remember that Joe Ingles is an old white dude. Respect to Joe Ingles in his prime. He is no longer the proper Luka Doncic substitute. There is no substitute, by the way, if you're looking for great Lakers coverage. For my first guest, Pete Zayas, passionate Laker fan, truly understands the game, breaks down film with the best of them. He is also the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast, which, as I've said many times, and I mean it 100%, it is my favorite Laker podcast other than my own. I love hearing him and Darius Soriano talk. Pete, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Andy. You're talking Bobby Caldwell and scout team comparisons. If you were to be a scout team guy to simulate somebody, who would you be?
Oh God, me? I guess Mark Madsen, just 6 fouls, goofy looking white guy who you're wondering how he ended up on the floor. It's probably the closest I get. I don't bring a ton to the table, other than I guess like Madsen. If I had the opportunity to be the scout team guy, Pete, I would play my ass off. I would play extremely hard.
I believe in you, Andy.
Thank you. Boy, that is misplaced belief. All right, Pete, we're going to get into some of the specifics about this series against the Wolves, matchups, all that stuff. But broadly, with the playoffs kicking off this weekend, how are you feeling about this Lakers team heading into the postseason? Feel like they've rounded into good form, all that stuff?
I feel great. I wish we had a center that I trusted a little bit more than Jackson Hayes, but a lot of the boxes that I was hoping would get checked toward the end, including Jackson Hayes not being a 3-4 shift type of player, but more of a kind of like JaVale in the 2020 season, where even though he was the starter, he was probably the 9th or 10th best player on that team. And so they checked several boxes on the way. And so going into the playoffs with Luka Doncic and LeBron James and a credible defense and a closing 5, I'm encouraging Laker fans to, don't put your heart out there too much, but it's okay to dream a little bit. This team can win a championship. Not saying that they will, Andy, but they're absolutely capable.
Well, that they're in the mix. I just talked with a caller earlier today. He was like, fans, we got to settle down. We can't get ahead of ourselves. I'm like, dude, get ahead of yourself. Like, have fun. Like, I promise your confidence will not turn the team overconfident. Like, I promise you that's not a thing.
Exactly.
So Brian and I talked on today's Locked On Lakers podcast about J.J. Redick as a rookie head coach, like with the idea that we don't anticipate him to be in over his head. He's given no reason to think that, but there's going to be a learning curve just because by definition, anytime you do something the first time, there are things that you don't expect and challenges that you can't figure out how to solve until you actually do them. What are you most curious about with Redick in this series, in these playoffs for the first time?
Oh, great question. Yeah, series basketball is very different than regular season basketball. And what I'm most curious about is a lot of the Lakers' game plan, I think, defensively against Ant is going to be at its core to kind of confuse him and make him make playmaking reads. And JJ always talks about marginal indecision and wanting to create that. They're going to try to do that with him a lot. It's one thing to do that when you're playing the Lakers on one night and then you play a different team the other night. When you're got a whole week to game plan for the defense, when you've got a whole week to plan for just that, JJ's going to have to come up with several different ways of doing that and seeing how quickly he can adjust from one. That was when in my very meager high school coaching career, the speed of it, and that's totally different, right, is what really struck me my first year of how quickly things happen on the floor, that the NBA version of that, there's no substitute for that. And he's spoken about that a couple of times about how, like, hey, I made a couple of mistakes a couple months ago that I'd like to think I wouldn't make now. Those keep coming at you throughout your rookie year, as a coach. And so how quickly can he adjust to Minnesota's adjustments, I think is going to be one of the keys to the series.
Talking with Pete Zayas, the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Laker Film Room. Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA 710. How are you anticipating the Wolves attempting to defend, contain the challenge of Luka? Like last year in the Western Conference playoffs, Western Conference Finals, it did not go well.
Right. Yeah, I think they're going to I know this sounds odd, but I think they're going to switch probably a little bit more. They are generally a deep drop team, which is a way of keeping Rudy Gobert around the basket. What I expect the Lakers do to counter that is to play a lot of small ball, and so replace Jackson Hayes with Dorian Finney-Smith. You can space the floor out, and Gobert is a better switcher. I know he had a very loud, was beaten by Luka at the end of a game, but he's actually fairly competent at that. I think they'll want to put length on Austin. Luka, like McDaniels didn't do a great job on Luka in the conference finals last year. He's a long and lean kind of player, and Luka's a little stockier, so Luka can give him those shoulders and forearms and bumps that kind of neutralize what makes McDaniels really good as a defender, whereas McDaniels can kind of overwhelm Austin with his length a little bit. And so I think they're going to be looking for those type of matchups. I have tried to look at this from Minnesota's perspective. I think they've run out of cards earlier than the Lakers do in terms of their offensive look, because the Lakers are going to be a tough team to play two bigs against. Minnesota's fundamentally a two-big team. They play Gobert, Randall, and then Naz Reid, fantastic big off of the bench. But you're going to got to make those guys get into rotation. And so really starting the blender, as Redick calls it, of beating that first guy and then getting them into rotation is going to be one of those keys. And so Minnesota is going to be very much trying to contain in the first place and not get that blender started.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You talk about that three big lineup that Minnesota has, or the not three big lineup, but like the three big options. And the Lakers, I think this is a really interesting test for them right out of the gate, just in terms of how much their lack of conventional size, like the lack of center depth, will actually matter? Like they're not I don't think the Lakers are a small team, but they definitely lack that one depth, that one size piece of it. How much do you anticipate this actually mattering, and how do you expect the Lakers to try to just counter it?
Yeah, I think that the Lakers, like, rebounding is one of those things that's going to be super key to the series. One of the unusual parts of this quote-unquote small ball group is that you've still got two guys out there that can get you 10 rebounds fairly consistently in Luka and LeBron. Normally a weakness of a small ball type of group. And so their ability to keep Minnesota off of the boards, which is something they're very good at, and this is an offensive impact that Gobert can have. Lakers switch a lot, and so you can have a lot of cross matches, Austin Reeves trying to box out Gobert. If you leave him one-on-one, he's going to kill you, as will Minnesota, Randall, guys like that around the basket. And so I think that that's probably like the main thing is really the defensive boards and that battle. I think that Minnesota is going to try to overwhelm the Lakers in that respect. And so putting a body on Gobert, on their main rebounders on the ground, and then it's a two-person job, making sure that that perimeter player, instead of leaking out in transition, is dropping down, helping on the boards. LeBron is going to be a huge factor in this series from like a help defense perspective, but also once that shot goes up, the help defense turns into a rebounding opportunity. So last game against them, he had 17 rebounds, and so I suspect that he's going to be a key figure in keeping that together.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Pete. We're talking with Pete Zayas, the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Laker Film Room, Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA. I started going through some of the data for the Timberwolves, and one of the things that kind of surprised me, because they are, in the aggregate, a pretty big team, they're not great on the glass for their size. Like, they're not terrible, but they're not elite either, except they are in the top 10 for second chance points generated. In particular, they're really good at getting putbacks and, like, scoring on those. Like, they're frankly elite along that one specific thing. So it feels like they may not get as many boards as you would expect, but they're very good on the offensive glass, capitalizing on the ones that they do get. So to your point about like having to put second bodies on guys, stuff like that, the Lakers just going to have to be really aware. They're going to have to make sure, like, okay, if there's a miss, we cover, we put a body on a Gobert, but also be mindful of who are the shooters that could get kickouts, things like that. Like, they're going to have to really be very aware of who is on the floor, I think, to try to neutralize that rebounding advantage. Because if they can do that, I think they take away a lot of Minnesota's offense.
I think so, too. I think that Minnesota is an interesting sort of defense to offense team at their core, I believe, and that I think that on the other end of the floor, they can turn stops and bad misses, turnovers, things like that into offense. But the Lakers cannot turn the ball over and keep them in that half court, and they have the physicality to keep them off the boards, put a body on them. I think the Lakers are more vulnerable to speed than they are to strength.
I was taking a look at also some of the Lakers, the splits with Ant this season, and over 4 games, they've actually done a really good job holding him below his season averages for points, percentages from the field, behind the arc. They've reduced him to a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, fewer trips to the line, all of that stuff. But then if you look at some of the matchup data, 2 of the guys that spent the most time in different possessions against Ant were either Anthony Davis or Max Christie, who are obviously both not on the team anymore. With that in mind, how do you expect them to go about trying to, at minimum, make Ant work for everything?
There's a lot of clues to that in the last matchup they played. They played one game after the Luka trade in which Luka played, but Gobert and Randall did not. But Edwards did. And so the Lakers have a very team-minded approach toward Edwards, in that Vando is pretty much the only guy on the team that can kind of go band-to-band with him on an athleticism standpoint. And he's only going to play 2 shifts, mostly with Austin and LeBron off of the bench. And so how do you guard a guy like that upped his three-point volume to 10 threes a game this year? He's got the best jab step in the game, in my opinion. So he's such a great driver that people get scared of that. And now that he's added the step-back 3 and hitting that at almost 40% clip, he becomes such a problem that you look around the Lakers roster, it's like, is Austin going to guard him? Is Rui going to guard him? And the reality is that all of them, yes, all of the above. So what the Lakers are trying to do with Ant fundamentally is keep him out of the middle of the court, funnel him toward the sideline, encourage him to pass to the corners. So if the ball is in the middle of the court, the defenders that are next to, say, Rui, who's going to be a very common defender on Ant. Rui can't stay with Ant one-on-one in open space. But if you shade one way and have a defender behind him, knowing that the help is coming that way, that's part of that puzzle I was talking about earlier with creating those situations with Ant where it looks like you have an open lane to the basket, but you don't. And so it's a multi-person type of job. And Mike Conley was on a pod recently talking about how Ant's going to have to figure all of this out, and he thinks he's ready for it. This is one of those big steps that a young player and a young star of his age has to take as teams throw more and more complications at him. So to guard Andy, it's going to be a multiple player type of job that's built around like keeping him away from the middle of the court.
Talking with Pete Zayas, the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Laker Film Room. Real quick before I get your prediction, give me a player on either team not named Luka, LeBron, Austin, or Anthony that you think can be a big factor in the series for either team in either direction.
I'm going to go McDaniels with Minnesota. A lot of those passes to the corner and a lot of the encouragement of like, hey, keep the ball in Ant's hands, will find the ball in his hands where he looks to attack Austin. That was a big thing that we saw in the last game. And a lot of teams like to target Austin's strength with a bigger type of player. And so if McDaniels can get his offense going, I think they can kind of unlock some things on that end of the floor. And then with the Lakers, Dorian Finney-Smith, that ability to go 5 out where everybody on the floor can shoot a 3, I think in some ways is checkmate against the Minnesota Timberwolves because they're such a too big group that once you can get a team out of their style, and it is going to be a battle of wills, right? Because they're going to have some advantages with their size and whatnot. But if DFS can hit his 3-ball Andy, I just don't see how they guard the Lakers.
And then finally, your prediction.
I know it's spicy, but I got Lakers in 5. I think this is a bad matchup for Minnesota.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Should have had John Ireland here. That's become his favorite saying now, Lakers in 5. John Ireland's leaning into all the memes. He is Pete Zayas. He is the co-host of the Lakers Film Room podcast. Again, follow him on Twitter at Laker Film Room. Always be listening to Lakers Film Room podcast. I would never spend this much time pumping up a competing Lakers podcast if it really wasn't that good. Appreciate the time as always, brother. Thank you.
You are too kind, Andy. You take care. This was a blast.
Again, Pete Zayas, Lakers Film Room podcast. Like, seriously, listen to him and Darius. Like, you will come out smarter, I will begrudgingly admit. 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in on anything Pete said, want to weigh in on other questions. Mitch, I see you. I'm going to get to you next. Lakers Film Room. Lakers Film Room is the podcast Pete hosts that, again, I have now spent way too much time promoting. Lakers Talk is the show that I'm actually hosting at the moment, 710 ESPN.
When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. We are ranked number 18 in the nation and number 1 in Orange County for orthopedic and spine care by U.S. News & World Report. From the surf to the green, our world-class doctors are there, which is why more Californians choose Hoag Orthopedic Institute for orthopedic and spine care more than any other hospital. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, there is no one better at getting you back to you. Proudly founded by premier physicians in partnership with Hoag. Learn more at HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com.
Hey, LA, let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
Lakers Talk continues on 710 ESPN.
The Lakers gear up for a round 1 matchup versus the T-Wolves Saturday night. And rookie Dalton Kamenetzky says the squad will be ready for the challenge.
Yeah, I think, we'll be ready. We got, obviously, Bron. I mean, he's been in the playoffs since before I was born, pretty much. So, he'll get us ready. Then also you got Luka and then good vets around us like Gabe, Jackson, all them, Vando. So, we'll be ready.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky right now.
Billy Ray was a preacher's son, and when his daddy would
Dusty
visit, he'd
Springfield.
come along.
Ding, ding, ding.
When they gathered around and started talking, that's when Billy would take me a walking.
What movie did this remind you of now?
Jackie Brown?
Nope.
Oh, not Jackie Brown.
Right, you're in the right universe.
I am in that right universe.
You're in the right universe. I'll give you a hint. It involves a lady doing heroin that she thinks is cocaine.
Oh, Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
That's right.
Remember,
That's what I think of.
Uma's prepping for her night out
That
with
is right. That
John
is
Travolta.
right. Exactly.
Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. Thanks again to Pete Zayas from Lakers Film Room Podcast for swinging by. Going to be talking in about 25 minutes at 7:15 with Ben Beecken from Locked on Wolves. Get his perspective on the Timberwolves, who the Lakers will be facing, the 3-6 matchup. The Lakers are the 3. The series begins Saturday, 5:30, 4 o'clock pregame, hosted by me this weekend. I'll be in for Beto Duran. And obviously 5:30 tip, postgame. All of that can be heard right here on 710 ESPN. Want to talk a little bit more about Ant coming up. But first, Mitch in New Jersey. My dude, you're on Lakers Talk. What's up, Mitch?
How you doing, Andy?
Good.
Take my call. Yeah, it's great to have this week off, almost a week. It's great having Luka to take over number one. LeBron could be well rested, come third, fourth quarter, take over. But would you say? I know Coloco's on a two-year deal, so
no, he's not. He's actually not on a 2-year deal. Jemison, real quick, just so you know, Trey Jemison is under contract with the Lakers next season on a 2-way deal. Christian Coloco is, I'm pretty sure, a free agent this coming off season.
But he's on the bench because I know we lack a little height. You know, they're all.
Well, he's not going to be active for the playoffs. Christian Coloco, he and Jemison, neither one of them are going to be active. They had to have their 2-way deals converted, and the Lakers would have had to cut someone, almost certainly Alex Len, to make that happen. But they ended up not doing that. Coloco and Jemison will be around with the team practicing and stuff like that, but they're not going to be on the active roster. They're not eligible for the playoffs.
Well, I hope Lang gives some fouls to help with Gobert because he's just a blocker and a great rebound. He can score too. But when you say, I still think the Knicks got the better of that deal because they're the 3 seed in Minnesota. Wasn't Minnesota like a 2 or 3 last year?
Yeah.
I just think that I think the Knicks got the better of that deal. Hopefully Lakers in 5. I don't have any. I'm not a rapper here. Not very good and stuff. So hopefully Lakers in 5.
Yeah, no worries, Mitch. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think the Knicks got the better of that deal. I think Minnesota went into that deal. You know, it was very financially motivated. It was very much about giving them some elements of flexibility this offseason. Julius Randle has a player option. I think it's still up in the air whether or not he's going to opt out or opt into one more year at around, I think, $30 million. They've got Dante DiVincenzo, I think, under control for next season as well. But it's a reasonable deal. Like it's quite a good deal. You know, I think Julius Randle in particular began playing better over the last couple months, and he's started to fit better with the Wolves, but I think they always knew that the fit was never going to be super clean because even with Ant now becoming a really good outside shooter, there's still a little bit too much similarities between Randle and Ant, and you know, you kind of have to put the ball in Randle's hands to make him the most effective because he's an okay outside shooter. He's not terrible, but he's not great. But you want the ball in Ant's hands. It's not, DeAndre, I think, like as radically big a problem as it was with LeBron and Russ in terms of the certain amount of redundancy and the lack of off-ball utility that Russ had. Like, you know, Julius Randle is much more of an off-ball threat than I think Russ is, but the same type of concept of they're both guys that are at their best when the ball's in their hand, but you prefer the ball much more in Ant's hands than Randle's. Like, you prefer it way more in LeBron's than Russ's.
Of course. And Julius Randle, like I said, he's more off the dribble. He doesn't really he doesn't cut, especially when Anthony Edwards does how the ball is.
I'm not sure I've ever seen him cut.
Exactly.
I'm actually thinking, I'm not trying to bag on. I like Julius.
No.
I'm not sure I've ever seen him cut before.
Like, as far as like off of the offense and movement and ball movement and player movement, I've never seen Julius Randle do like a hard back cut or something like that. It's been morely him just getting the ball, He catches mid-post, kind of faces up. He likes getting the free throw line. Like, he's a real physical basketball player.
Dude, he's a load, man. He's strong as hell.
See, the one thing that he's all left hand, so I hope the Lakers learn to sit on that left hand.
I mean, I'd like to think if I know, they know. I mean,
right?
You know, Julius has got a little bit of Lamar Odom, and then and LO was a great player, but the scouting report on LO goes left at all costs. That was pretty well known. He just was pretty damn good going left.
I just want to ask this one thing though, because it's been on my mind. As far as like the Timberwolves and their style and how they play, like obviously Rudy Gobert finished the season off on a high note, especially defensively and in scoring. He's been able to have a better soft touch around the rim. But what if the Timberwolves were to like switch it up and be okay, we're gonna put Naz Reid and Julius Randle, match the Lakers as far as spreading the offense out and having another valuable shooter like Naz Reid and pair them up with Julius Randle to have more spacing for them offensively. Would the Lakers be in trouble in that sense?
All right, you know what? Let's dig into that. Coming up next, again, Ben Beecken going to be joining at 7:15 from Locked on Wolves. Take more of your calls, 877-710-ESPN. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA.
Hey guys, it's Sedano. Los Angeles International Airport's People Mover trains begin rolling early next year as part of LAX's ongoing investments to transform and improve your travel journey. The People Mover trains will quickly move guests between their terminals and our new consolidated rental car center, metro trains and buses, economy parking, and Kiss and Fly lot. The trains will make it simple and fast to get to your LAX destination in 10 minutes or less, and trains depart every 2 minutes beginning in early 2026. Learn more at lawa.org/ESPN.
Hey, Southern California, I'm Ty Pennington, the home guy. Teaming up with Pechanga Resort Casino to give away a brand new house. Imagine yourself in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in incredible Temecula, California. All you need to do is play your favorite slots or table games at Pechanga Resort Casino. The more you play, the more entries you earn. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for complete details on Home Sweet Win.
Rules and conditions apply. Go to Pechanga.com for more details.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A Good Karma Brands radio station. 710 ESPN. The radio home of the purple and gold. And the home of Lakers Talk.
Although the Lakers didn't end the regular season with a win, they did finish third in the West and with high hopes of doing damage in the playoffs.
They'll dribble it out, and the Lakers are going to lose their last game of the season, but they're heading to the playoffs as the 3 seed.
The stage is set for round 1, game 1. Lakers and Timberwolves face off in the playoffs at Crypto.com. Saturday night.
There's regular season and there's playoffs, and oftentimes it's not completely different things, but there are nuances to what teams are trying to do against certain opponents. We have a lot of work to do, and they're a really good basketball team.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Lakers Talk is on. Here's Andy Kamenetzky.
Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. We will be talking with Ben Beecken from Locked on Wolves in about 15 minutes. Great coverage of the Timberwolves, who the Lakers will be facing In the first round, the 3-6 matchup, the first time the Lakers have hosted a series in the playoffs with home court advantage since 2012 against the Denver Nuggets. Back before the Nuggets gave the Lakers PTSD, and just the mention of Denver and Nuggets scared the bejesus out of the Lakers. This was back when they still saw themselves as automatically superior to Denver. They ended up winning that series before the next round going up against the Thunder, getting eliminated. That was the year that the Thunder, with Durant and Westbrook and James Harden, got to the finals, and they were taken out by LeBron James and the Heatles in LeBron's first championship. That was 2012, one of the 4 straight seasons that Miami made it to the finals. You raised that interesting question, DeAndre. And by the way, this game will be heard Saturday, 5:30 tip, 4 o'clock pregame. That'll be hosted by me, in for Beto Duran. You can hear it all on 710 ESPN. You raised that question of what if the Wolves decided to play more to the Lakers roster and abandon some of their size because they've got Gobert, Naz Reid, Julius Randle, all of whom are good players. Like, they all bring really good stuff to the table. But when you look at the way the Lakers, particularly with what's become their version of a death lineup, LeBron, Luka, Austin, Rui, DFS. By the way, the numbers, like the advanced metrics for that 5, particularly in the fourth quarter, the data loves that group. Like, it's something like a positive 22.5 net rating in the fourth quarter. I think they're, as a group overall, that 5-some is something like plus 18.5, something like that. Like, those 5 together have been really, really good, and I don't think it's fluky. Like, it makes sense, particularly offensively. Like, there's nobody that you're comfortable leaving completely alone. So, DeAndre, I'll bring the question you posed back to you. If Minnesota decided that ultimately they had to match the Lakers' style of play, as opposed to dictating the terms, how do you think they do it? Where do you think they look to sit a guy?
I mean, it has to be Gobert, right? I mean, I think they're going to try to look at, okay, we understand what happened with we understand what happened with Luka Doncic in the playoff series against us when we switched a lot and we tried it, and the Mavericks did a great job of getting our switch as far as getting Gobert out him on the perimeter, and the Mavs exploited that. So I don't know if Chris Finch was doing his research as far as, okay, we see the addition of what the Lakers have with Luka Doncic, and we're seeing what they also added with Dorian Finney-Smith. The Lakers favor the smaller lineup, is what they would say. I mean, I'm kind of get away from saying small ball lineup, or just say the smaller lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth remembering, DeAndre. Like, the Lakers, when they go Reeves, Luka, LeBron, Rui, DFS, they are small in the sense that they're not playing anybody who is remotely a center, but they're not small. Like, when Austin Reeves is your smallest guy at 6'5", and everybody else is like 6'8" or 6'9", like, that's big. Austin is bigger than most point guards. Like, if Rui is your 3, Rui's huge for a 3. Like, Luka is huge for his size. LeBron is huge and strong and fast. Like, DFS has good size for his position. They're not small. It's not like the way people used to think about the Warriors.
So to answer your question, I think the Timberwolves will take Gobert out in certain situations only because is when you have that offense out there with Finney-Smith, you have Rui Hachimura, you have LeBron, Luka, Austin, all capable of knocking down a three-point shot. Whether it's open or off a couple of passes, off a couple of ball reversals, they have the ability to knock down a three-point. That takes Rudy Gobert out the paint. What does Rudy Gobert like to do? Protect the rim. He is a definition of a rim protector. Mm-hmm. You do not like to see him out there on the perimeter because, number one, he can't slide his feet, and he's not good. It's not there for him to guard the perimeter. They tried it. In many years he's been playing, it has not been efficient for him to be out there in the perimeter. We've seen it all in playoff series. So with that being said, I just feel like the Lakers, that's what their advantage is. It's like, okay, we're going to drag Rudy Gobert out the paint. Drag him out. And that allows us, if we do get inside the paint, obviously his job, he's going to drop down and try to help. that leaves open shooters all around. That's what the Lakers' advantage is going into the series.
Now, you are 100% correct that Gobert is the guy that feels most natural to take out. And, I don't think he is – I think for his size, he's actually pretty good in space. But the problem is it's just not good enough. Like, he's not embarrassing when he's out, along the perimeter. But, like, for example, I think Jackson Hayes may not be as good of an overall player as Gobert, but I think Hayes is much better defending in space. Like, I actually sometimes think that Hayes is better defending guys as like a big wing than he is like in the lane protecting the basket. But what's fascinating about that, though, is, Naz Reid, I think, is going to be opting. I think he's got a player option, and my guess is he's going to be opting out. They want to keep him. Like, part of the reason that they traded Cat, I think, was to have the ability to retain Reid. Rudy Gobert's got a long contract with this team moving forward.
And he gave up a lot for him, too.
They gave up a lot for him. He's the guy that is going to be around. So whatever politics matter with that, you have to consider. Julius Randle, you wonder if you want him opting out.
But you trade Karl-Anthony Towns to get Julius Randle, right?
Well, but a lot of that was just the flexibility. Like, there was flexibility in getting Julius Randle. At most, he's under contract for one more year. But there's always that chance, and I think they knew it when they traded for him, of him opting out. Do you play Randle potentially less, trying to maybe force his hand a little? I mean, things like that happen, particularly if it starts feeling like a series is slipping away. And hypothetically speaking, you've had an ownership group that's a total mess, like just an absolute bleep show, and you don't know exactly how this group with A-Rod and company, how their finances are, how exactly they're going to be willing to spend or whatever, because this thing has been drawn out for so long. We've never got the opportunity to see them actually calling the shots. Randle playing more time on the floor, if he plays well, that could maybe lead him to opting out. If he plays poorly, though, could lead to him opting in. So there's, which, maybe makes him tradable, maybe not. But I think it's really interesting just because these politics often dictate decisions by teams. I think you are correct, though, DeAndre, that ultimately they are going to have to go more with Reid and Randle in this series than Gobert. There's no natural matchup for Gobert. And yes, he obviously plays a big role on the boards. He plays a big role protecting the lane. But I think they're going to be scrambled a lot if he's out there defensively.
And I mean, the guest we had on, he was
Pete Zayas.
Yeah, sorry. He was explaining how the Timberwolves like to run the typical two big man lineup as far as with Gobert and Naz Reid. We even seen him do with Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns when he was around. I don't think that will work with this Lakers team. You put Naz Reid and Gobert in at the same time, I don't think it's going to work. I know a lot of people are saying the Lakers lack size and the rebounding is going to be an issue. The Timberwolves are a really good rebounding team. But these past couple of games, even like down in the stretch in the season, the Lakers weren't getting. I mean, there was games where like, okay, they got to do a better job of defensive rebounding, but it's not like they were getting killed to the point where like, all right, it was very, very blatantly obvious that the Lakers needed, more size to get help in the rebounding.
If they can, but this adds another layer of complication in terms of maybe Chris Finch keeping Gobert out there, or Reid and Randle really need to hit the offensive glass because they've been really good at creating second chance points for themselves and creating more opportunities. Like they're not the best offensive rebounding team in the league, but they're clearly one of the better at making the most of their offensive rebounds. Like they're top 10 for second chance points. I want to say they are third in the league, in particular for points per possession on putbacks. And I'm guessing a big part of that is actually Rudy Gobert. So this is what happens. And I think these are going to be the different chess matches that we see throughout the playoffs, not just for the Lakers, but all these teams. Like, unless you have a team that feels like it is constructed perfectly, there's always some type of weakness or vulnerability that's going to be out there that another team is going to test. It's going to be interesting to see JJ Redick, his first time out as a coach. How good is he at putting Chris Finch to the test? Like putting Chris Finch in a position where he has to make decisions. Like all this stuff, again, that's why I cannot wait for Saturday to come around. And going to talk about this coming up next with Ben Beecken, the host of Locked On Wolves, get his perspective on Ant Edwards and the gang. Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA.
Hey, LA, let's talk trash. Food waste, that is. Tossing your food scraps in the regular trash sends them to landfills where they release harmful gases like methane. Fight global warming by simply sorting your food scraps and placing them in your green bin. It's quick, it's easy, it helps protect our planet. Ready to do your part? Visit cleanla.com or call 888-CLEAN-LA for more tips. This message funded by Cal Recycle.
NextGen is the official AC, heating, plumbing, and electrical company of SoCal sports fans. That's right. Is your heating and AC system ready to power through the season? From quick tune-ups to full replacements, NextGen has you covered. For a limited time, ESPN LA listeners can get a heating and AC tune-up for just $88. That's right. Stay in the game all season with an $88 heating and AC tune-up from NextGen. Call 833-3NEXTGen today.
NEXGEN. Call 833-3NEXTGen.
Hey guys, it's Cappy here for Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks, man. I've been talking about Prize Picks for years. I play it literally every day. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. We have over 10 million members and literally billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less. I mean, it's really that easy on at least two players, and you've got a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. So run your game all season long with Prize Picks. And here's the best part. It's springtime, right? Baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from baseball into your Prize Pick lineup. So whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, it could be first inning runs, you take your pick of more or less, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you make your first $5 lineup. That's CAPPY, K-A-P-P-Y. Download that Prize Picks app. Prize Picks. Run your game.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. A jacuzzi bath system fits in your existing tub space. It's a no-mess installation with an amazing style selection, factory-certified installers, and a limited lifetime warranty. Call 800-717-4599. That's 800-717-4599 right now and get 50% off installation with no interest and no payments for 12 months. Replace that old bathtub today with a walk-in shower for a safer bathing experience. If you have lived in your home for over 15 years, it's time to remodel your bathroom. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-717-4599. That's 800-717-4599. 800-717-4599.
All the latest surrounding the Lake Show, right here on Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
As the Lakers prepare for Saturday night's Game 1 matchup versus Minnesota, JJ Redick knows it won't be easy versus the T-Wolves.
Very difficult opponent. They've played as well as anyone, lately, and I believe they're one of 4 teams in the top 10 in offense and defense, so they present a lot of problems.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
Now back to Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky.
Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. The Lakers are hosting the Timberwolves in the first round of the playoffs. Game 1 this Saturday. 5:30 tip pregame coverage, which will be hosted on Saturday by moi, yours truly. I will be in for Beto Duran. That begins at 4 o'clock. And to begin to break down the Timberwolves more at length, happy to talk with Ben Beecken, the host of Locked On Wolves, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can obviously also find Locked On Lakers. As a heads up, for Thursday, you can listen to a crossover episode between our shows. Follow him on Twitter at Beecken. Ben, how are you, man?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm really looking forward to this series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the Wolves finished March and April out on a 17-4 note, propelling them from 3 games above 500 to ultimately 16 games above. What accounted for that strong end of the season?
It was a really easy schedule. That's a huge piece
nice.
of it. Yeah. But
But they also had some pretty bad luck earlier in the year when it came to, bad crunch time offense. And so, their net rating was always much better than their record throughout the year. Their Pythagorean win-loss is like 5 wins better than it ended up being. So I do think they rectified some of that. The competition level helped, and they also got healthy. And they were healthy early in the season when they were struggling, but then there was a period of time where both Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo were out. Rudy Gobert missed almost a month in February. And basically right around when he came back, this team started to click a little bit offensively and, beat the teams they should beat, which they'd also struggled with early in the year. So you got to play who's in front of you. And I think we saw this team, they have a bit more of an identity now offensively. They offensive rebound a bit more. I think Ant was starting to do a bit more playmaking, and Rudy Gobert played great over the last month to 6 weeks of the season, was actually scoring a bunch. He set or tied his career high, I think, in their second or third last game of the regular season. And the Wolves have just been more comfortable passing Rudy the ball. I think there's a bit more chemistry between Rudy Gobert and like Dante DiVincenzo, who's a new teammate of his this season now than there was in the fall. So I think kind of a combination of those factors, but it's always a nice thing to be playing your best basketball when you're headed into the playoffs.
Looking at some of the numbers for Ant, it looks like it's been a career year for him.
Yeah.
What in particular do you think have been the strongest elements of the season for him? And how many of those elements do you think in particular will translate to the playoffs in this series?
Yeah, the easy answer is 3-point shooting. And I guess that would also be my answer because he's shooting almost 4 more threes per game. And he's also shooting nearly 5 percentage points better than he did last season. And, about 3 percentage points better than his career average from outside the arc. So he suddenly turned into, he actually led the league in 3-pointers made this season. And he added that on top of everything else that he was already doing and didn't really regress in any area. I mean, the free throw rate dipped a little because he shot more threes, but that got better as the season went on. And he, I believe, finished the season top 10 in free throw attempts as well. So I think it was adding that 3-point element to his game. I think there wasn't as much growth from a playmaking standpoint as Wolves fans would have hoped, but he didn't regress. It's just teams are really keen in on him now. And with no Karl-Anthony Towns, I think teams are more willing to let Julius Randle beat them than they were Karl-Anthony Towns because Randle's not as efficient of an offensive player. He's obviously not the shooter that Karl-Anthony Towns is from range. So I think understanding that he's got to make quick decisions when teams put 2 on the ball, that's something that he progressed a little bit throughout the year, but he maybe still wasn't as good as the Wolves would like to see him. And that's going to be key in the playoffs, depending on how the Lakers choose to defend him. But the 3-point shot, the addition of that, it keeps teams honest. Like he's phenomenal off the dribble. He's phenomenal in transition as a 3-point shooter. And of course, guys are afraid to get dunked on. So he can really legitimately do it all. It's just, is the decision-making on point? Is the shot selection on point? But, clearly he's only 23 too. So he's only going to keep getting better. And it just kind of underscores he is one of those guys where if he puts his mind to something, I'm going to become, basically Steph Curry this season, not actually, but almost he was able to do it. So, the sky really is the limit for him and excited to see him in the playoffs, once again this year.
Talking with Ben Beecken, the host of the Locked on Wolves podcast. Follow him on Twitter at @BBeacon. Andy Kamenetzky, Lakers Talk, ESPN LA 710. I was looking at some of Ant's splits against the Lakers this season, and over 4 games, the Lakers, whether you're talking about lower points per game, lower percentages from the field, from behind the arc, fewer trips to the line, a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, the Lakers did a really good job this year limiting Ant's effectiveness, but in some of the matchup data, it reveals that 2 of the defenders who spent the most time either guarding Ant straight up or partial possessions, Anthony Davis or Max Christie. And they're obviously not Lakers anymore. So this incarnation of the Lakers, how well equipped do you think that they are to, at minimum, keep Ant working for whatever he gets?
I think they're still pretty well equipped to do it. I think in my mind, and I think a lot of Timberwolves fans wouldn't be shocked to see Jared Vanderbilt guard Anthony Edwards. Vander was only healthy for 1 Lakers-Wolves game this year, and it was the last one, and Anthony Edwards got ejected in part due to some instigation by Jared Vanderbilt, which is something Ant can be prone to that as well. Of course, they're former teammates. Vanderbilt played in Minnesota with Ant for, I think, just a year before he was traded, year and a half maybe. And so I think Vanderbilt, in terms of size, skills, the ability to get under somebody's skin as well. All of that, I think, is probably the best individual defender the Lakers could put on Anthony Edwards. But of course, it hamstrings LA's offense a little bit. They can't play 5 out with Jared Vanderbilt. You got to play him like a center offensively. So maybe those minutes are limited. Beyond that, I think the Lakers probably, I think Hachimura started the game on Ant the last time they played it in late February. And then I think the Lakers kind of tried to play him with, play the gaps, and if Ant puts the ball on the floor, try and show him bodies. That's probably what they're going to do again. I mean, if they blitz a pick and roll, I think that's where Rudy Gobert's got to make the right pass on the short roll and kick it to the corner, and they've got to have 3-point shooters make open shots. But I think, the Lakers, they maybe don't have like multiple guys who you would say one-on-one. Like the Wolves, for instance, have a ton of guys. Luka's his own guy, but like if it were flipped, like you would say, oh, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a good matchup for that, or Jaden McDaniels, or Jalen Clark, or Anthony Edwards, is a good perimeter defender himself. The Lakers don't have as many of those guys, but I think between Vando and just big bodies and showing Ant's size and forcing him to make a tough choice, I think the Lakers will be fine, and that's probably why Ant, didn't exactly have fantastic offensive games against the Lakers in 4 tries this year.
Talking with Ben Beecken, the host of the Locked on Wolves podcast. Follow him on Twitter at @BBeacon. Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. How's the Julius Randle fit been for the Wolves, particularly down the stretch?
He obviously is the Wolves' second best offensive player. And that's, so like there's going to be a certain amount of weight placed on his shoulders. He's got to perform. He's not historically been great in the playoffs, of course, with not with the Wolves. This is his first year in Minnesota, but I think that he's going to have a solid series from a decision. Again, I go back to decision making, because if the Lakers are going to load up on Anthony Edwards, whether it's actually putting 2 on the ball or just kind of showing him bodies and shading the floor toward Ant, as teams do, then Julius Randle has to attack mismatches. But if he doesn't have that advantage, or if Ant's off the floor and Julius Randle's on the floor and the offense is supposed to kind of orbit around Julius Randle, he has to pick his spots, and he can't get sucked into trying to take Rui Hachimura in the post and shoot over him, or taking LeBron one-on-one. Like those are the situations where Julius Randle will take a bad shot and or turn the ball over. Like that's bad Julius, right? That's the Julius Randle we saw in November, December, that Timberwolves fans are like, get this guy off our team. Like this isn't working. But Julius Randle for the last 6, 8, 10 weeks has been really, really good, really post injury. And as long as he picks his spots and he exploits a mismatch and can do that second side attack when Ant swings the ball and makes the right play, then I think he could get around 20 a game and hopefully 4 or 5 assists a game. I mean, that's going to be important. He actually initiates a fair amount of offense, especially with Ant off the floor. Mm-hmm. So it comes back to decision making. It comes back to trying not to do too much and not trying to be Karl Anthony Towns. He is the second best offensive player, and there's going to be expectations. But if he picks his spots in the right way, in a smart way, and focuses on beating the mismatches he should beat, I think he'll be just fine, and he'll be a big part of the Wolves offense.
Last season during the Western Conference Finals between Dallas and Minnesota, Luka put up some bonkers numbers. How much do you think what we saw last year in the playoffs between the Wolves and Luka inform what happens this season, whether you're talking about how the Wolves try to contain Luka, effectiveness, the difference in teammates, whatever?
Yeah, I think it matters. I think certainly psychologically, because these Wolves players, like you said, mostly, of the primary 8 rotation guys, 7 of them were on the team last year. 6 of them, I guess. Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo would be the 2 newcomers. Kyle Anderson actually was one of the primary defenders against Luka last year in the conference finals and did an okay job, and is no longer on the team. And Karl Anthony Towns was big in the playoffs last year guarding Kevin Durant and Nikola Jokic, but not as much in the Mavs series. Or he didn't factor as much in defensively, I should say. But I do think it matters psychologically. I think it matters because, again, the personnel that's going to be tasked with guarding Luka outside of no Kyle Anderson is largely the same. So did the team learn their lesson? And they adjusted a little over the course of the Mavs series. It didn't really work. They lost in 5, but they went from trying to play him straight up and trying to, like they ended up switching a lot, which I think they'll still do a little bit of, but it ended up with a lot of, Rudy on Luka in space. And, it took them too long.
Luka loves that, baby.
Luka loves that. And of course, we're going to see that that step back over Rudy from the game 2 of the conference finals last year. Probably every single broadcast they'll show it multiple times. So I think it does matter, and I think the Wolves hopefully learn their lesson. Hopefully they watch the Celtics in the finals last year and how physical they were with Luka and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and those guys. So, yeah, I don't know exactly how they're going to try and defend Luka. I still think they're going to try and play him straight up and just take their chances. And then it's a next man up. If Jaden McDaniels gets into foul trouble, I think he's first up. Then it might be Ant, because Ant's probably not going to get in foul trouble. And if he's not effective, then you may go to Jalen Clark, who is a rookie that is kind of the 9th rotation guy, but was the primary defender against Luka in February when the Wolves had some injuries in that matchup and did an okay job. I think Luka had like 21 on 20 shots in that game. So I think it's going to be kind of a wave after wave of different bodies guarding Luka, but I think it's primarily going to be straight up one-on-one. And the Wolves will say, look, if we need to bring doubles, we'll bring doubles on Austin Reeves. We'll bring doubles on LeBron James and try and generate turnovers that way.
Talking with Ben Beecken, the host of the Locked on Wolves podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at B Beecken. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. For what it's worth, I actually think that is, if the Wolves can do that, it's actually the best approach. Doubling Luka can often mean death, particularly when the outlet pass, when you put 2 on him, is to either LeBron or Austin with advantage. It's just really, really rough going for defenses. What are some of the potential advantages that you think the Wolves have over the Lakers?
I think one would be offensive rebounding. The Lakers are not a great defensive rebounding team, and the Wolves have become a very good offensive rebounding team over the last 3 months or so. They've focused on it a lot more. Rudy Gobert can go down there and play volleyball on the boards by himself, and with Jackson Hayes isn't on the floor, especially, they're going to have a size advantage. So that's one. And they've actually been it's easy to just say, oh, they're bigger and they'll play bigger because Rudy's on the floor, but they're actually a good offensive rebounding team. They've focused on it. They've gotten better at it. The guards kind of crashed down and rebound. Nikhil Alexander-Walker's gotten great at back taps, and they're a good offensive rebounding team. And then the other thing would be transition. The Wolves don't run a ton, so if you go look up pace, I think the Lakers actually played at a faster pace than Minnesota, but Minnesota's good when they do run. And they run a fair amount off of steals. They're dead last in running off of defensive rebounds. They don't push the pace. And believe it or not, actually likes to slow it down. But if they get turnovers, and I alluded to this a moment ago, if you kind of surprise and trap Austin Reeves or double LeBron in the post or whatever and generate a turnover, Minnesota is actually really effective and willing. They're kind of middle of the pack in how frequently they run and transition off of opponent turnovers. So forcing live ball turnovers, getting some easy buckets that way, will also lead to some open threes. I know the Lakers have not been great at defending the three-point line either, and the Wolves are a top 10 three-point shooting team no matter how you slice it. So I think turning the Lakers over and not selling out to do it, but picking their spots, being advantageous in transition, generating some open threes, and then crashing the glass on the offensive side of the ball. If they can do those things, maybe create a little bit of a higher variance series and generate, maybe draw some fouls. The Wolves actually are pretty good at drawing fouls. Not as good as the Lakers, but the Wolves shoot a fair amount of free throws. I think those are kind of the areas in which if the Wolves win this series and get the upset or at least push it to 7 or something, it's going to be because they offensive rebounded, they generated some turnovers, and they pushed the pace a little bit, picking their spots in doing so.
I was looking up some of the data, and it seemed like they were not a great team on the offensive glass for a team as big as them. Like, they're not bad, but they're not great either. But they are really good at second chance points. They're top 10 in the league for that, in particular with putbacks. So it felt like, if nothing else, they're opportunistic with the offensive rebounds that they do get, and they're very good at capitalizing on them. A, does that seem like a correct interpretation of the data? And then B, how much offense do the Wolves lose if those second chance putbacks get neutralized?
Yeah, on the first question, that's an accurate interpretation. They're pretty good. I mean, Rudy Gobert, he gets fouled a lot too on offensive rebounds. And so, and he's, for what it's worth, it's been one of his best free throw shooting years of his career. He's like 68% or so from the line. So he gets fouled a lot on offensive rebounds. They also do a pretty good job at kicking out to find open shooters. And that's, they're I think they were 4th in the league in 3-point shooting percentage this year. They've got a lot of, Rudy's like the only guy that's not roughly league average or better from outside the arc. And is the only guy in the rotation that's a non-shooter. So yes, they're really good at that, and the cleaning the glass numbers on offensive rebounds, points per miss. I think they're 6th in the league and like 12th in plays per miss. So to your point, yes, they're very good at that. And it is a really big part of their offense. I mean, this is a team we already kind of identified roughly the same personnel. Randall in place of Towns is obviously less efficient. But last year, this team was only 16th or 17th in offensive rating at the end of the season. They went to the conference finals on the strength of their defense. And this year, their defense is like 5th or 6th in the league, and their offense is 8th. And they were pretty middle of the pack, back around the holidays. And really, since the first of the year, it's been the offensive rebounds that's kind of lifted the offense and generated some of those open three-point opportunities and generated some of those putbacks and free throw, trips to the free throw line. So it is a big part of their offense. They don't consistently get, Julius Randle's the second highest scorer in this team, but they're not like, unless Ant's off the floor, I mean, there's a lot to them just shooting a lot of threes and then trying to get some offensive rebounds and against kind of a defense that's not set. Can we get another open three out of this? Can we get to the line? Can we get a putback? So it is a pretty big part of their offense. And if the Lakers can find a way to kind of turn off the faucet when it comes to offensive rebounds for Minnesota, I think they'll have a shot to really kind of slow down the Wolves offense.
If the Wolves are able to push this series to 7, maybe pull what would be considered the conventional upset, name the guy not named Anthony or Julius that you think had a really big series.
If I have to pick one, I think I pick Naz Reid because I think he closes at least a couple of games at the 5. If the Wolves are down, if it's a close game. And, I refuse to say the phrase in any seriousness about Rudy getting played off the floor, but there is some realness to matchups, right? It does matter. And so depending on this game situation, Chris Finch has pulled Rudy at times down the stretch, and Naz Reid's going to have to provide rebounding on both ends of the floor. If he plays the 5, he's going to have to knock down open threes. More broadly, I would say, if I could cheat a little bit on this, I would say it's the bench, the trio of Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. If those guys knock down their open three-point shots, and they're all very capable three-point shooters, they're all well above league average three-point shooters, then the Wolves have a real shot in this series. If they're standing in the corner and get that pass from Rudy on the short roll, or the kick out from Ant, or the kick out off an offensive rebound, and they knock down the open three with regularity in the series, and Naz is obviously part of that, then I think the Wolves definitely have a shot in this one. It's going to come down to some of those open three-point shots. If they're generated, can they knock them down?
And then last question for you, Ben Beecken, host of Locked On Wolves, a prediction.
Yeah, I've been trying to, when the matchup was set, the Lakers are actually the in my mind, the worst matchup for Minnesota. I've been trying to kind of talk myself into the Lakers, the Wolves maybe have a legit shot. And they have a shot, certainly. It's going to be a long series. But I think I have to go Lakers in 6. The Wolves haven't been as good at home this year as they were last year and as you'd want them to be. I think the Wolves still win in LA. I think the Lakers win the series back in Minnesota in Game 6. And ultimately, I think we're in for probably 6 really good games, but I think Lakers in 6 is probably where my mind would be on this one.
He is Ben Beecken. He is the host of Locked On Wolves, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BBeecken. Awesome coverage of the Wolves, and he's going to be a must-follow, must-listen during this series. Really appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
And coming up, we will take more of your calls, react to anything Ben said. 877-710-ESPN. This is Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA.
Losing your home in a wildfire is devastating, and the fight for insurance money shouldn't make it worse. Jacob Imrani is helping families impacted by the Eaton fire, suing Southern California Edison, and holding insurers accountable.
First, I didn't know what to do. I heard what you were doing for my buddy by loading his car up. He calls me, he says, "Guess who's loading my car with water? Jacob Imrani." Right. I mean, for real. I said, well, I'm going to talk to Jacob.
Call him at 844-24-JACOB, 844-24-JACOB. Visit him online at calljacob.com, and together we are LA Strong.
Call Jacob. Hey, Southern California, I'm Ty Pennington, the home guy. Teaming up with Pachanga Resort Casino to give away a brand new house. Imagine yourself in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in incredible Temecula, California. All you need to do is play your favorite slots or table games at Pachanga Resort Casino. The more you play, the more entries you earn. Visit pachanga.com or call 888-PACHANGA for complete details on Home Sweet Win.
Rules and conditions apply. Go to pachanga.com for more details.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. after Clinton and Friends.
When you get to the hotel room, say you go for three days or a week, you guys put your clothes in
the second I come through the door.
Oh,
and
no.
Susan thinks I'm a lunatic.
In the drawer?
In the drawer. Hang everything in the closet.
Yeah.
Put everything in the drawers. Put the suitcase underneath the little thing inside the hotel.
Move in.
I move in.
I do that now. I used to not do that. I do that now.
Even if I'm there for one night, I move in.
Okay, I'll hang stuff up, but I'm
Yeah.
leaving it in the bag. I'm
No.
not going to move in.
I not only do I do it, I like it.
Do you separate your socks?
Yes.
You have a sock drawer at a hotel?
Yes.
Sock drawer?
Socks and undies at the top.
Oh, my God.
T-shirts in the second. Shorts in the third. And then everything else hangs.
Makes you feel better. Hey,
I know where my stuff is.
whatever works, it works, yes.
Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN.
Lakers talk continues on 710 ESPN.
The Lakers gear up for a round one matchup versus the T-Wolves Saturday night. And rookie Dalton Kamenetzky says the squad will be ready for the challenge.
Yeah, I think, we'll be ready. We got, obviously, Bron. I mean, he's been in the playoffs since before I was born, pretty much. So, he'll get us ready. Then also you got Luka and then good vets around us like Gabe, Jackson, all them, Vando. So we'll be ready.
Lakers Talk is presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. When pain keeps you from doing what you love, Hoag Orthopedic Institute gets you back to you. Visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com to get the help you need today.
More Lakers Talk with Andy Kamenetzky right now.
Him love and affection to keep him strong, moving in the right direction.
If you don't know this, Stevie, I want no part of you. Just want no part of you. You know what this song now reminds me of? Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. Thanks to Ben Beecken from Locked On Wolves for joining us. Give people a heads up on Locked On Lakers tomorrow, the show that I co-host with my brother Brian. Ben is on with us for a crossover preview episode that we recorded before I started Lakers Talk tonight. It's really good. Like it's, if you are looking for an even deeper look into the Wolves, some questions that I didn't get into with Ben during our show here, but on the show tomorrow, it's good stuff. Like I'm not just promoting my own show. It's legit good. Living for the City reminds me of, remember Spike Lee, Jungle Fever? The crack house scene when Wesley Snipes goes to track down his crackhead brother, Samuel L. Jackson, Gator, who's with, do you remember his girlfriend? Cast very against type.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Cast very against type. Halle Berry.
Yeesh.
Halle
Berry.
Halle
too.
Berry played his crackhead girlfriend, and the two of them were deep, deep on the rock, and they would get high in this place that was called the Taj Mahal, and it was just like crackheads everywhere. Like it's visceral, like the way Spike Lee filmed this. But that song is playing the whole time, and like ever since I saw that movie, like whenever I hear "Living for the City," I immediately imagine Wesley Snipes lecturing Samuel L. Jackson about his crack habit. But to be clear, Samuel L. Jackson's character's crack habit, although, I mean, this is crazy, like one of those crazier than, life is fiction, that sort of thing. Samuel L. Jackson had actually recently been to rehab for a cocaine and crack
yes,
addiction.
I remember that. I've heard the story.
This role in Jungle Fever was his first role after getting out of rehab. And, there had been some concerns about, like, would him doing this role take him down to dark places? And he was just like, it's too good of a role. I have to do it. I'll trust my process, whatever. He's so good in it that when the movie premiered at Cannes, they basically created a supporting role award so they could give Samuel L. Jackson something.
Wow.
Yeah. Like he is that.
Also to DJ and do the right thing.
Yes, he is. And a big sports guy. He's like an SB staple. We were talking, DeAndre, during the break about JJ Redick and this being, his first season as a head coach, really his first season as a coach, period. Obviously, the regular season went very well, 50 wins. I think he's going to get some Coach of the Year love. Probably won't win, but I think he'll get some votes. But this is his first experience in the playoffs. The playoffs are a totally different animal. What, if any, concerns do you have about Redick on this stage beginning Saturday?
I'm not concerned about his ability to adjust, meaning say if the Timberwolves are going on a run or something like that, his ability to correct the defense and be able to put them in better positions in the right spots. One thing I would be concerned about is, say if the Lakers do get themselves into a big hole, like, how will they respond? Getting his team to rally up as if they were to get down into themselves in a hole. How would he be able to get in the huddle and motivate them to, all right, we got to do this, this, and that?
Well, the good news is when you've got someone like LeBron already there, like that's LeBron's voice in those moments is going to matter as much, if not, frankly, more than JJ Redick's, just because I think JJ has earned the respect of that locker room, but LeBron's still LeBron. And like LeBron's voice, Luka may be the best player on this team now, but LeBron's voice still matters more than anyone else. I'm honestly not that concerned. Like, I think there's going to be a learning curve for JJ just because it's his first time doing it. And most of the time, the first time you do anything, there's a learning curve. But learning curve doesn't necessarily mean disaster. I think JJ is also, for as smart as JJ is, and as much as JJ loves for everybody to know that he's the smartest guy in the room, I think JJ is very secure in his confidence, and that security allows him to acknowledge the stuff that he doesn't know, and he'll reach out to learn more from people who know more. Like he said yesterday during practice that Gary St. Jean, among other assistants on the staff who've been through this, they've been really helpful for him. Like he's been reaching out to them. They helped prepare him for this week beginning last week. Like they started doing an agenda for the week last week that they're going through right now. I feel like JJ, the amount of preparation that he does, like it just can't be overstated. Like I think there's going to be things that surprise him because even veteran coaches get surprised over a course of a series because as much as everybody knows everything that you run and all that stuff, sports are unpredictable. I don't think there's going to be much you can throw at JJ that he's going to be like, oh my God, I did not see that coming at all.
Do you think this series favors, I mean, the way the schedule is, do you think it favors more for the Lakers, meaning that, because remember they had that stretch where they're just playing games after games after games. They didn't really have time to actually prepare a game plan when it comes to their opponent. Now you got a whole week where you get to strategize and game plan, which the Lakers have not been able to do that because every single season before JJ Guy has been playing, and dig themselves out of that, right?
Oh, I mean, forget just the week that they have to prep, and they're practicing this week, they're working, but it's not the same thing as playing games. Like there is an element of recharging, getting a little bit of rest. But you get that week to prep, and you know your opponent. It's not like they were dealing with the play-in where you have to prep for a specific play-in opponent. Then you have to start prepping for a playoff opponent, assuming you win that first game. They get multiple days off in between games. Like they play Saturday. The series opens Saturday. Then they don't play again until Tuesday. Then they don't play again until Friday. Like the first 3 games of JJ Redick's first taste of coaching in the playoffs, he gets multiple days off in between to really dig into everything. And, and JJ is a real details guy. So to answer your question, yeah, I think that helps him a lot.
Okay, I'm not tripping. This is totally just a question, but
sure.
Has it always been like that as far as the playoff format? I don't know. Me growing up, I always remembered that Lakers play at home. They play that one game, they have a day off in between, and they play again come Monday.
The first round tends to have more gaps because you're accommodating for more games, and the television schedule for that many games, like you have to give a certain amount of breaks.
But he's right. I mean, growing up for me, like it wasn't like this. We didn't have 2 games in 3 days or whatever, or
Yeah,
4
like
days, and then you have another game 3 like a week later. You had him 2 or 3 days.
They do play game 3 and game 4 with only one game in between. So there's a little bit of.
I mean, back in the 90s and early 2000s, they were
Okay, Michael.
No, but I hear what you're saying because like you said, they play again Tuesday. Then they don't play again until Friday.
Yeah,
I know.
Man.
Travel.
But
to
also,
Minnesota.
travel.
Yeah, I get
too,
that
yeah.
too. Yeah.
I do think some of this is they are accommodating that many games and trying to make it so you don't have too many conflicts. Some of this could be, and I don't know this, but could be thinking about what are some of the most prime-time availabilities to put the Lakers on.
I mean, we do realize the Kings, LA Kings are in the playoffs as well, so they got to take into consideration
That is true too. I mean, some of this does have to do with scheduling availability, things like that. If you happen to play in a crowded arena, and right now that is the case for the Lakers because they and the Kings both started as the home teams in their respective series. It helps. But, yeah, I think the pace of this definitely helps JJ. There's also, too, real quick before we go to break and then get to crunch time, remember leading into the last week with a couple games against OKC and Houston, there was that question of how much will JJ play all of his guys? How much will he be looking to maybe hide from either Mark Dagna or Ime Udoka, not wanting to show your cards? It doesn't look like JJ attempted to hide a damn thing, and I'm glad. I'm for a team that needs all the reps it can get together because they changed so much mid-season. And they've had guys injured. I don't think you have the luxury of trying to coach while hiding stuff, but also I would rather see tangible proof of what it looks like in the regular season and get all those reps than, basically have your dress rehearsal happening or your live game happening in game 3, just busting something out with no idea what it's going to look like. I think sometimes you end up being too clever by half doing that. I'm glad that it seems like JJ's just we're going to run our stuff. We're going to make it as good as we can. You're going to figure out what we're running anyway, just like I'm going to figure out what you're running everywhere. I just want us to execute. So I think JJ's set up well. We'll see, but I think he's set up really well. All right, we are going to close out as always with a little crunch time. Funchy's got the topics. DeAndre and I'll chime in. Lakers talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA.
Why do we grill to order at Waba Grill? Because it's just better for you. Our Asian-inspired menu has high-quality proteins that are healthier for you. Like hormone-free chicken, ribeye steak, wild-caught salmon, and shrimp. Our steamed vegetables and signature salads are made fresh for you. Our sauces are more flavorful for you, from sweet and spicy to fiery hot. Download the Waba Rewards app or order online at wabagrill.com. Waba Grill, it's for you.
Hey, it's Mace. Want a new game to get excited about? Check out Chumba Casino, your favorite online social casino. It's free to play, no strings attached. Enjoy social casino games like bingo, slingo, and slots and more with new releases every week, whether you're at home or on the go. Play for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get started today at ChumbaCasino.com.
Available only to players in the U.S., excluding Delaware, Washington, Michigan, Montana, Connecticut, and Nevada, and Canada, excluding Quebec. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Travis Rogers and DeMarco Farr.
Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. after Clinton and Friends.
Last week, I told you I saw those 2 huge snakes,
Big snakes
on my walk,
yeah.
right? Honestly, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
They were really big snakes, and they were both rattlesnakes, and I got very close to one of them before I actually saw it.
Size of dried salami. Huge.
They were big snakes.
Yeah. Wow.
So yesterday, I'm getting ready to go for my walk, and I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. The willies have passed.
Okay.
I'm going to go back on this trail again. And so I'm heading to the trail. There's another one. I was within, from the distance that you and I are sitting apart from each other before I saw it. It was the exact same color as the pavement.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, no, bro, I'm not going back on that trail.
You got to know, or wear boots. I know what to do.
I can't go for my walk in boots. Look,
yeah, you can.
I can't. No.
Weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
It's Travis and DeMarco
on 710 ESPN.
It's crunch time on Lakers Talk.
When the clock is ticking, and it's all coming down to the wire. You know what that means.
This is Crunch Time.
All right, Lakers Talk, Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA 710. As always, we close out the show with Crunch Time. Funchy's got some topics. DeAndre and I will chime in. What you got?
So last Sunday, we officially put a bow on the 24-25 NBA season. And, it was a big one, a good one. Gets bigger and bigger every year. Andy, what was the biggest surprise of this year?
The Detroit Pistons. Going from a 14-win season last year to a 6 seed and, becoming a team that, remember early in the season when the Lakers dropped those games against the Pistons, it's like, oh my God, that's going to be one of those you look back on and it could bite you in the ass. Now you look at it and they're like, it doesn't seem too bad. They're a good team. I love the way they've turned things around there because those fans love their Pistons. It's a great fan base.
When the Pistons are good, Detroit fans are really, really good to them.
Yeah, I've got a few friends who are Pistons fans. Shout out Kelvin. Shout out Jeff Katz.
That's right, my boys too. I love
Kelvin
those guys.
And Katz,
Kelvin and Katz.
They love their Pistons.
They love them Pistons.
So it's got to be Detroit for me.
DeAndre, what do you think?
I'm going with the Clippers. I was surprised that they actually end up being in the 5th seed. I thought with them trading Paul George and didn't know what Kawhi Leonard's health would be like, I thought they would struggle and be battling the play-in. Obviously, they proved me wrong as far as how they ended up their season as with the strong finish. So, yeah, the Clippers are very, I think they might make some noise this playoffs.
They look good, man. They look really good.
Biggest surprise for me was Houston. I mean,
that's a good call.
They shot up all the way to the number 2 seed in the West.
I thought that they would be better this season. I did not think, though, they'd be
they'd be number
good.
2 good.
I did not think they'd be
not at all. I
good.
think they would be a play-in contender right now, but not a number 2 seed.
Look, man, Ime Udoka, there were, shall we say, questionable decisions that led to him getting canned by Boston. Bad decisions, obviously things that he needs to redeem professionally and personally. But he's a good coach, man.
He's good coach.
Really good coach.
And Sengun is like the Nikolai Jokic light.
He's a good player, man.
Really good player.
He's very good.
All right, we did the biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, Andy, of the season.
I'm not shocked by it, but the way people generally have reacted to him, I'm going to take the Phoenix Suns just because they brought in a new coach. And they've already fired their latest coach, Mike Budenholzer. They're going to be, this offseason, hiring their 4th coach in 4 years.
I saw a tweet that all coaches named Mike got fired this year.
They have managed to alienate Kevin Durant. It doesn't even matter if they've alienated Bradley Beal because he owns the trump card with his no trade clause.
Yes, sir.
So it has been reinforced yet again. The Suns own the worst contract in the entire league. Their owner is a loon. He might be a better.
I've never heard that to describe the Phoenix Suns owner.
He might be a better person than Robert Sarver because low bar to clear. Like Robert Sarver's a truly terrible person.
We saw those things.
But he might actually be, in terms of just the basketball, he might be a worse owner. And that's saying something. That's hard to do.
Is he the type to see the 2K ratings and be like, I need that guy. His 2K
the
ratings
way
are
I've
high.
described Matt Ishbia before, because, first of all, the Suns have gone to Ish.
You better trademark and make that shirt now,
They've gone
Andy.
to Ishbia. But, because he's, super hyper-aggressive with every decision he makes. He reminds me of, when you go to, like in Texas, they've got those steakhouses where they'll put out, a 72-ounce ribeye, and if you finish the whole
I've
thing
always
in an
wanted
hour,
to try it at. Great outdoors, John Candy.
Yeah, you get the steak for free and $300 or whatever, but otherwise it's $100 steak. Matt Ishbia feels like the guy that eats that every day for 3 meals a day. Everything he does has to be the most hyper-aggressive, all-in move that's just stupid. And that's who owns the team right now.
Real quick, DeAndre, biggest disappointment of the year.
76ers, man. Look, you acquire Paul George, you add Joel Embiid, you got Tyrese Maxey. They're supposed to be a top 3 seeded team in the Eastern Conference. Arguably could have been one of the better teams in the NBA in general. And just look how the season went. Injury after injury. Paul George is very inconsistent. I mean, yeah, Sixers are just...
And not even that. Guys don't even want to play for the Sixers. They towards the end of the year, they didn't even want to play.
No, they did not.
Did not even want to play at all.
There's two-way and G League guys
and
that
you
are
know
starting
what?
all the season.
And going back to Paul George, is he cursed? Is he like cursed? Is he cursed to every franchise he goes to? Is he cursed himself?
I mean, the Pacers were good with Paul George.
I mean, okay, yeah, but you know.
That Pacers team was fun.
They were good, man. Paul, look, it's...
Slow Roy.
Slow Roy. Oh, man. He's a good player, but yeah, it does seem like he's on a bit of a curse track right now. And it sucks. A lot of this is injuries and stuff like that. And he had that gruesome leg injury.
Like, who has a worse track record? Westbrook with the coaches or Paul George's with these teams?
Might be Russ.
Coach Killer, man. Coach Killer.
Might be Russ. All right. Got to do some predictions, gentlemen.
There you go. Prediction time.
What do we got? Who goes first? I'll go first.
Yes, you go first.
Lakers in 6. I got this Lakers in 6. I think it's going to be a legit series, but I think they're going to win it. Lakers in 6.
I agree. Lakers in 6.
I'm going for the sweep. Lakers in 4.
Whoa.
Lakers in 4. We come out swinging.
To quote Teddy KGB, very aggressive. Very aggressive. Wow. Sweet. Now that would alleviate any concerns anybody's got about J.J. Redick as a first-time head coach if the Lakers manage to sweep the Wolves. Again, game 1 Saturday, 5:30 tip, 4 o'clock pregame with me, speaking better than I did just right there. Thank you to Funchy. Thank you to DeAndre. Thank you to Pete Zayas. Thank you to Ben Beecken from Locked On Wolves. Cannot wait for this series to begin. It's going to be really exciting. Again, talk to all y'all Saturday. Lakers Talk. Andy Kamenetzky, ESPN LA.
The biggest show on the radio. Mason and Ireland on 710.
You know what? I get so pissed off. I like a good mojito. I am amazed at the number of times I order a mojito and it's totally half-assed. Like, do these guys even know how to muddle? It's like nobody wants to muddle the mint, and so they just throw a sprig of mint in. I want well-muddled mint in a mojito. What do I have to do to get that?
You have to exactly say the order that way. So this is my order if somebody says, what do you want to drink? I'll say, I'll have a whiskey sour with Maker's